For Dimebag Darrell, life was a wild symphony, every note louder, every night faster. But as 2004 rolled in, something felt different.
Ain't no chance in hell we're trying to ride on the credibility of Pantera, but sorry, you got half of Pantera there, and that was a huge part of me and Vinny's life, man, and
The laughter was still there, yet the band's future was uncertain, and the shadows around him began to grow. In his final year, he celebrated, he created, and he dreamed, unaware that his last performance would end in tragedy. This is what the final year of Dimebag Darrell's life was like.
them dudes get up and throw down every night. You know, it's no competition, man. You know, when you're in, everybody's in the same boat together.
It was supposed to be a comeback, not an ending. In 2004, Dimebag Darrell Abbott was ready to start fresh. After years of turmoil within Pantera, he and his brother Vinnie Paul had poured their energy into a new project, Damageplan. Their debut album Newfound Power dropped that February, and fans saw it as the rebirth of two brothers determined to prove they still ruled the metal world. Darrell was in good spirits, back home in Texas, spending time with his longtime girlfriend Rita Haney, and talking about how he finally felt free to create without drama. But beneath the optimism, he couldn't shake the tension that lingered from Pantera's breakup. Rumors, fan rivalries, and resentment from die-hard followers of the old band followed him everywhere. Still, Dimebag stayed true to his nature, kind, funny, and utterly devoted to his craft. Every night on tour, he hit the stage grinning, guitar slung low, pink beard shining under the lights. On December 8, 2004, that grin would be frozen in time forever. What began as just another show in Columbus, Ohio, would become one of the darkest nights in rock history. For Dimebag Darrell, 2004 began with something rare: hope. After Pantera's bitter unraveling, he and his brother Vinnie Paul threw themselves into a new dream. A band that would prove their fire hadn't faded. They called it Newfound Power at first, a fitting name for two men rebuilding from the ashes, before renaming it Damageplan.
The story goes on and on forever, man. But somehow or another, in my whole life, Dean's was a big thing in my heart. It was always my dream to be with Dean and play Dean.
Alongside vocalist Patrick Lockman and bassist Bob Zilla, they hit the studio hard, determined to carve their own sound apart from Pantera's shadow. When Newfound Power dropped in February, it cracked the Billboard 200 at number 38, not bad for a debut. Critics were mixed but intrigued. Blabbermouth praised the album's heavier moments but noted Lockman lacked the raw charisma of Pantera's Phil Anselmo. AllMusic gave it 3 stars, calling its mix of post-grunge and thrash ambitious, if uneven. Dimebag didn't seem fazed. Reviews were just noise. What mattered was playing loud, connecting with fans, and moving forward. He'd often say Damageplan wasn't about proving anything, it was about having fun again. For a moment, it seemed he'd found peace, but fate was already counting down his final months. Looking back, it's chilling how close Dimebag Darrell came to crossing paths with danger months before his death. On April 5, 2004, Damageplan was playing a packed show at Bogart's in Columbus, Ohio, the same city where tragedy would later strike. Mid-performance, a man suddenly leapt onto the stage, startling the crowd. Security rushed in, wrestling him away as he clung desperately to the band's amplifiers, damaging nearly $1,800 worth of gear in the chaos. That man was Nathan Gale, the very person who would return 8 months later to end Dimebag's life. At the time, no one could have imagined it. The band shrugged it off, even turning the moment into a joke. Frontman Patrick Lockman cracked, "I'd like to introduce you to the 5th member of the Expletive Band," drawing nervous laughter from the audience. No charges were filed. The incident seemed minor, one more wild night in the unpredictable world of touring. But behind the humor was an unsettling truth. Gale had already fixated on Dimebag. The warning signs were there, hidden in plain sight, long before anyone realized how dangerous his obsession had become. For Dimebag Darrell, the road was home, and in 2004 he practically lived on it. Damageplan spent the year crisscrossing North America, performing 112 shows across 3 grueling tours. Each night, the band unleashed songs from newfound power alongside a few surprises, Pantera classics for the diehards, and covers of Ted Nugent and Kiss that showed Dime's love for old-school rock swagger. The energy was raw, the crowds intense, and for the first time in years, Dimebag seemed purely happy again, free from the infighting that had plagued Pantera's final days. Fans who caught those shows still talk about them online, calling Damageplan criminally underrated.
You know, I don't have the actual Ace Frehley smoking guitar, so I had to fake it. You know, and I guess I got this thing with fireworks. I don't know what's up with that, man.
Many remember Dimebag's epic 5-minute solos, moments of pure electricity where his joy and technical brilliance fused into one. Others recall how approachable he was, chatting, laughing, and sharing beers after the gigs. One fan wrote, "It always makes me sad now thinking about how close we were and how trusting they were of their fans. That closeness was part of what made Dimebag beloved, and tragically, what made his final concert all the more devastating." In interviews from 2004, Dimebag Darrell radiated something fans hadn't seen in years: contentment.
You got the old Dimebag kicking it right here with Team Crank, blowing it out, Arizona style, blood red skies, with the fucking blazing crank amplifiers.
Sitting down with Guitar.com, he sounded genuinely grateful for the chance to start over with Damageplan. He admitted he'd been nervous about how fans might react, unsure if every crowd would chant Pantera instead of embracing the new band. But the opposite happened.
You know, a lot of people always thought that my old sound was tube because it was warm like that, you know?
Everybody knows what happened, he said with a grin. They know me and Vinny never turned our backs on them, and they're there for us, man. For Dimebag, Damageplan wasn't a step down. It was freedom. He loved being able to stretch out solos, jam longer, and experiment on stage in ways Pantera's set lists never allowed. To him, it was about giving fans more, not less. Behind the pink beard and wild energy, there was a renewed spark. A man rediscovering the joy of playing without pressure or politics. He still spoke fondly of Pantera, but he no longer felt trapped by its shadow. Damageplan was his new home, and for the first time in years, Dimebag Darrell truly felt alive doing what he loved most. Behind Dimebag Darrell's trademark grin, not everything was as smooth as it seemed. Though he spoke warmly about Damageplan in interviews, those closest to him later revealed that tension was brewing, especially between him and vocalist Patrick Lockman. In 2008, Darrell's longtime partner Rita Haney told Guitar World that he'd been growing frustrated in the band's final months. "He told me he didn't know what to do about Pat," she said. "Pat didn't want to sing any Pantera songs, but he knew what he was getting into when he joined." That resistance cut deep. For Dimebag, Pantera's music wasn't just the past. It was part of who he was. Fans still roared for those riffs, and he wanted to honor that legacy.
Sorry, you got half of Pantera there, and that was a huge part of me and Vinny's life, man. And I feel that the fans got let down. You know, the Pantera fans were let down, and I'm here to prove with Damage.
By late 2004, Haney said he'd even talked about firing Lockman, tired of the tension and delays in writing lyrics for new material. Damageplan had been built on brotherhood and renewal, but cracks were starting to show beneath the surface. Still, Darrell kept pushing forward, ever the optimist and determined to play, to smile, and to make the best of whatever time he had left. By the summer of 2004, whispers of a Pantera reunion were already circling, and those closest to Dimebag, Darrell believed they weren't just rumors. Despite the public optimism surrounding Damageplan, Darrell's heart still beat for the band that had defined his life. According to his longtime partner, Rita Haney, he was beginning to think seriously about patching things up. "I know how forgiving Darrell was," she later said. "If anyone could have brought everyone back together, it was him." He'd never been one to let bad blood linger, and by August, on his 38th birthday, He was reportedly back in touch with bassist Rex Brown. That small conversation, Haney said, felt like the first step toward healing years of tension. Even as he toured with Damageplan, Pantera was always there in his heart, the bond with his brother Vinny unshaken. For Darrell, it wasn't just about fame or money. It was about brotherhood, unfinished songs, and the fans who had grown up screaming those riffs. No one knew it then, but that call to Rex might have been the spark for a reunion that never got the chance to happen. For Dimebag Darrell, 2004 brought one moment of pure, unfiltered joy, meeting the man who had inspired him to pick up a guitar in the first place, Eddie Van Halen. The two finally crossed paths that year at a Van Halen show in Midland, Texas, where Eddie rolled out the red carpet for the Abbott brothers. He sent a limo to bring them to the venue, invited them on stage during sound check, and spent the day laughing, jamming, and talking shop. For Darrell, it was the kind of moment you dream about as a kid, standing beside the guitarist, whose every riff had once echoed through his bedroom walls. After the concert, the brothers boarded a plane back to Dallas, still buzzing from the experience. That's when Dime turned to Vinny and said something that would later haunt those who loved him. "Man, if this plane went down right now, I'd be okay with it. I finally got to meet the dude who made me want to play guitar." It was a rare glimpse of quiet peace, the kind that comes from realizing you've lived your dream, even if the clock is unknowingly running out. December 8, 2004, began like any other night on tour. Damageplan had rolled into Columbus, Ohio, ready to play one of their final shows before heading home for Christmas. The crowd at the Alrosa Villa was small but passionate, about 250 fans packed shoulder to shoulder, eager to see Dimebag Darrell up close. Backstage, Darrell and Vinnie Paul went through their usual ritual. They grinned, slapped palms, and said their trademark phrase, Van Halen, their code for having fun and giving the crowd everything they had. Neither knew those would be the last words Dimebag ever spoke. 90 seconds into the opening song, chaos erupted.
I just screamed as loud as I could, and bam, bam, bam.
Nathan Gale, the same man thrown out of a Damageplan concert months earlier, forced his way inside and opened fire. Within moments, Dimebag was gone. 3 others, Jeff Mayhem Thompson, Aaron Halk, and fan Nathan Bray, were also killed before police officer James Niggemeyer shot the gunman dead. The music stopped, but the shockwaves never did. Dimebag's death marked one of the darkest moments in rock history, a senseless act that silenced one of metal's most joyful spirits in the middle of doing what he loved most. Dimebag. Darrell's funeral drew the kind of crowd only he could unite, rock and metal legends shoulder to shoulder, grieving a man whose riffs had changed their world. Eddie Van Halen, Jerry Cantrell, members of Slipknot, and Zakk Wylde were all there, paying tribute to the guitarist who had inspired them. Van Halen even placed his iconic black and yellow Bumblebee guitar, a gift meant for Darrell, in his casket. Yet one face was missing, Phil Anselmo. Barred from attending by Darrell's family, Anselmo stayed away, releasing a statement days later that was equal parts apology and heartbreak. "I loved him like a brother," he said, acknowledging the rift that had never healed. "I wish his family the least grief they could ever have, and I know it's impossible." The silence between Anselmo and Vinnie Paul would last until the drummer's death in 2018, closing a chapter of unresolved pain. Years later, in 2022, Pantera's music roared back to life, with Anselmo, Rex Brown, Zakk Wylde, and Charlie Benante carrying the torch. Some fans call it a tribute, others a resurrection. Either way, the spirit of Dimebag Darrell still echoes through every note. He gave everything to music, his energy, his soul, his very being. Even in his last days, Dimebag Darrell lived exactly how he played, fearlessly, and with fire in his heart. His story is a haunting reminder that fame can't protect passion from fate. Which moment from Dimebag's life sticks with you the most? Let us know in the comments. If you want more stories like this one of legends, loss, and legacy, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a moment. Thank you for watching.